my tenure now. Before I was kind of like, they would bring me in every once in a while. And I was trying to get a job, but, it just never happened. But at that time, Ring of Honor was more like a big indie place. It was, it was one of the indies that, everybody wanted to get to. And they would call me up, and I was working at that time in NWA Wild Side with Bill Behrens, and they had a good relationship with Bill Behrens, and they seemed, pretty hot on me at the time. And so at the beginning, it was just like a really cool booking. But then when I got up there, I was like, man, I was kind of used to being, the big guy in the pond where I was at. But everybody in Ring of Honor was like great, and I remember even being in the back and watching some of the matches and just taking it off to where, I was almost intimidated by some of the talent. You had, who were some of the guys? Had CM Punk,
Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson at that point.
Oh, it was all the big guys now, and they were wrestling there, and Austin Aries and Roger Strong, and man, it was just, and the way they had it together is like everybody had a role, everybody knew who they were, and the crowd knew who, and the crowd was hot, and it wasn't like at big places, they were holding at venues where you could hold, 300-400 people or whatever like that, 150 people or whatever. But like the shows, like people were engulfed, and you just know low key, you just knew you were like, you was watching something different. And I just knew it was different.
Sure. Yeah.
And now,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And now,
no, go ahead, continue.
And now it's just, it's one of the majors, I feel, because they have people on the contract, exclusive contracts. They're able to pay you enough to where you can make a living on it. You don't have to pay to go there. They bring you up. They pay for your flight, pay for your rooms. They give you a salary or whatever your pay is. They take care of you. And then you get there, they have food for you, and you know what's going on, and the crowd is real, and they have the setup is nice. It's on TV. Like, what else can you ask for? And the thing I love about it is the fact that with their schedule, I'm allowed to follow my dream, be part of my dream, and still be a part of my family as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what draws a lot of people to Ring of Honor. And you also mentioned I have the Honor Club. They have everything that the quote unquote major companies do. Now, I would say the last 18 months or so, Ring of Honor has really undergone somewhat of a transition. The Young Bucks leave, Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes and things like that. And some people might have been critical of Ring of Honor for quote unquote letting the talents go, or some of the attendance of shows. But I feel like now when you look at the Ring of Honor roster, it's probably the deepest it has been in quite some time. Then the stars that are signing, Bandito, Ray Horace, just locked down Marty Scurll. For a company that, like you said, the schedule is very friendly for the professional wrestler. What do you think Ring of Honor, plans to do differently in 2020? Because, the business is cyclical. There's peaks and valleys, don't get me wrong. But just the matches and the talent announced for Supercard of Honor coming up in a couple of weeks, I think 2020 is going to be a pretty big year for Ring of Honor.
2020 is, I think every year we continue to get better. And you think about, you got Cody, the Young Bucks, and the guys that went to AEW, and I wish them the best. But that's not the first time we've lost people. We've lost people before. The Undisputed Era. If you look at WWE now, it's kind of a version of Ring of Honor. You got so many guys there that come from Ring of Honor. You got AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. You got Tyler Black. You got
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn,
Seth Rollins, Kevin. Yeah, and so it's basically it's not something that we haven't been through before. I believe this time the reason why it stands out is because that group had the opportunity to start their own thing, and it was with somebody that was wanting to go head to head with Vince McMahon with that type of money, and it was an opportunity that's hard for anybody to turn down. And so I believe what it did was open up doors for everybody to be able to eat, and I don't believe anybody's going to suffer or anybody's going to lose out, because of the way that Ring of Honor is built in the branch that we're under. With Sinclair Broadcast Network, we're in a very, very, very safe place. And not only that, with 2020, Marty Scurll re-signed, and he re-signed as head booker. And so he's going to be, helping out with a lot of things as well. And so it's going to be a lot of changes in Ring of Honor to look forward to, surprises and some things that we haven't even announced yet that I can't really talk about. But I can say things are getting a lot bigger, and I would say that. And all we can do is just wait and see. And so there is a base that's been very faithful and loyal to us. There's always going to be those fans that follow their favorites, and with the Young Bucks and Cody and Kenny, they were kind of between, Ring of Honor and New Japan all at the same time. So a lot of those people were following both of those products. And so if they're following AEW or whatever, that's all good as well. But we still have our fan base, and it continues to grow with the things that we're implementing in 2020. And I just think it's a good time for wrestling. You have a lot of promotions that are able to pay these great athletes what they're worth and give them a way to make a living for themselves. So I can't look at a company and be mad at a company for allowing a lot of my friends a chance to be able to pay their bills doing what they love to do.
Yeah, and like I said earlier with the Honor Club, I mean, the Honor Club is $9.99 a month, or if you pay for the year, it's I think $100 or something like that. And when you look at it, just 4 or 5 years ago, people are paying $60 a month, for one pay-per-view. So you pay your $9.99 a month for whether you do the WWE Network or in the Honor Club in there, you can get 3 to 4 streaming services for half the price of one of the pay-per-views, and there's so much content now that Ring of Honor is putting out there. When they put the TV shows, they were decided to stream the TV tapings live. It's such a good investment, and for those fans who, like you said, they might have followed their Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Bryan Danielson. The Ring of Honor always has the next generation of superstars at the ground floor. I mean, you had, like you said, you had the CM Punks and the Undisputed Era. So when you watch those shows, you're seeing, the people that you watch for X amount of years in Ring of Honor. And right now, I mentioned that the talent pool is so deep. You, as a veteran locker room presence, who do you think is ready to take that next step in Ring of Honor to become, that necessarily the torchbearer, but that main event person that we haven't seen yet?
Oh man, that's I can't answer that question. There's so much. I'm a huge fan of Flip Gordon now, with the mercenary thing he's doing, not just because of his style, but like the change that he's underwent, because there are a lot of high flyers, and I was, a high flyer, risk taker, and all that stuff as well. But it came a point in time where I realized that you got to last. You got to be in the sport for longevity, and he's found a way to continue to do what he's doing and be smart about it, and he's added so much to his game. So I believe he's gonna be great. Of course, we got Roosh Bandito, Dragon Lee, Shane Taylor, who's definitely way underrated with his talent. Kenny King, Jonathan Gresham. My God, Jonathan Gresham, I would put him against anybody in a pure wrestling match, and that guy would run circles around him. He just knows so many styles of wrestling, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I mean, because it's like he's a wrestling encyclopedia, and I'm not just talking about like what happened in 1991 and Starrcade. I'm talking about as far as moves and transitions and styles, and he just has. It's amazing to watch him perform. Same thing with Jay Lethal. Man, it's so much. You got Lifeblood. I like Mark Haskins. I like Tracy Williams. Man, Roosh, oh my goodness, Roosh is he's like a modern day Ultimate Warrior. PCO is he's like a movie. Like it's like a movie that needs to be written about him, because I remember PCO when he was part of WWF. I was a big fan of of the tag team and all. And so I remember watching him wrestle Bret Hart, WrestleMania, and then like he just kind of like disappeared because of like heat. But then he like reinvented himself. He's 52 years old now, and like he's world champion. I mean, that's something movies is made of. You know, movies are made of. Man, who else? Man, oh my God, you can't do this to me. The Briscoes. We got so much Dalton Castle. My God, Dalton Castle is like his own. He's like an enigma, man. He's like something you've never seen before. He's a character, but he's a tremendous wrestler as well. Greco-Roman background, freestyle. Joe Hendry from Scotland, man. Not only is he a great wrestler, he's extremely strong. And he's a smart guy. Easy to get along with, very talented. He's like a legit singer. Like you could download his music on Sony, like on iTunes and stuff. Like it's just, I don't know, man. It's the talent pool is so deep. You got the bouncers, you know, two big guys that can move, and it's man, I don't know. You got SOS. I don't want to start naming people because I'm gonna miss somebody, and they're gonna be like, "Oh man, I thought we was boys, and you didn't, say it." But I'm just saying names was coming to my head. And so it's not just one person. Marty Scurll is always gonna be, that guy that that's in the forefront that you just know can be world champion at any time. You got Matt Taven. Not only Matt Taven can be world champion anytime, but then you got Vinny Marseglia, who's like just came into a whole nother character. You got
That's
Bateman.
A scary dude right now.
Oh my God, it's too. That's an answer that can't be. They can't be. It's a question that can't be answered because we have our talent pool is so deep that it's anybody really. I mean, you got. Then we got stuff going on with the NWA now, and it's, man, I don't know. I don't know. That's one question that I've been asked that I really don't know. There's so much. It's deep, and I didn't honestly. I knew that it was deep, but until you asked me that question, I didn't realize how deep it was because my head is spinning trying to think of a legit answer to give you.
And any combination of those guys you mentioned is going to be a great match. But you mentioned one guy that I've been a huge fan.
Oh my God! I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Jeff Cobb, Dan Moss. I mean, come on, man! Like, are you kidding me right now? So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, not at all. A couple of years ago we had him on the show. Shane Taylor. I think Shane Taylor is an unsung hero for Ring of Honor. What he was able to do with the TV title. We spoke to him. It was probably 3 years ago now. It was Shane Taylor and Keith Lee back then they were the Pretty Boy Killers. And Shane Taylor said, watch what's going to happen. He's going to do his thing. It was right after Keith Lee left. And that dude has reinvented himself on such a level. When you see Shane Taylor wrestling on a card, you're like, you're getting your money's worth in that match.
So many 5-star matches. And this back to back to back. And everybody knows who he is. They know his presence, and it's almost like he was a champion that wasn't supposed to be champion. You know what I'm saying? And
sure.
and they look at, if you look at what a champion's supposed to look like, supposed to sound like, supposed to do, and all this type. He was almost the opposite of that, and he held that championship, man. And he was a television champion, but I could easily see him being world champion. Especially now with Shane Taylor Promotions and what he's done with being able to buy out his own contract. And come on, man, it's so much.
Yeah, it really writes itself. It's such a good story. Like you said, and even it's crazy just listing the talent off the top of your head. It kind of makes you sit back and go, "Whoa!" Like it's almost like you wish Ring of Honor had more shows because there's so much talent that you would like to be able to, to have on each show. But it's not feasible, and it makes sense that, to do it the way they're doing it. You mentioned Marty. He's signed. He's going to be the head booker. Do you think there's any trepidation in being a talent as well as a booker, especially in this time? Because, I think the general consensus was a lot of people thought Marty Scurll was going to leave Madison Square Garden as a champion. That didn't happen. And now it's like, if he's the booker and makes himself the champion, do you think it's a tough spot for him almost?
It's as tough as anybody makes it because everybody's going to have their opinion, but AEW is their own booker, and that's booked by a lot of wrestlers there. Nobody's complaining about that.
I think if anything,